Evening, friend. Looks like you've wandered far and found my fire. Come closer, warm your hands on the coals, and take this cup of mountain sage tea. It's a little bitter, but it settles the heart. My name is Romand. I'm an old traveler who collects stories instead of silver. Some tales were traded to me on long roads, some scratched into wax tablets, and some just stayed in my head because they're worth keeping. Tonight, I want to share a quiet day in ancient Sparta. No famous battles, no clash of shields, just the way people woke up, trained, cooked, and sang when the sun went down. Along the way, you'll hear a short legend about Lycurgus, the lawgiver who showed Spartans why simple things matter more than gold. This won't be rushed. If your eyes feel heavy, close them and listen. The only sound around us should be the popping fire. We'll start at dawn, when wood smoke hangs above clay roofs and boys from the Agage jog the river path in bare feet. We'll stop at the small market where olive oil swaps for fish and goat cheese. We'll stand beside the iron pot of black broth, an odd smell to outsiders, a comfort to every Spartan. At dusk, we'll hear young voices sing by the Eurotas, and near the end I'll tell how Lycurgus set simple rules that still guide the town long after his footsteps faded. While I speak, let your own thoughts walk beside mine, like two friends on the same dusty road. If a memory rises, let it stay. If a worry appears, let the fire crackle over it until it cools. When the coals settle and the night grows thick, I hope sleep slips over you as gently as a sentry's cloak at changing time. So pull your cloak tight, sip your tea, and follow the story wherever it goes. When the last ember winks out, may your rest be calm and sure. Dawn slides over Mount Taygetus without a sound. A single line of pale gray light rests on the ridge, then widens. Below, farmhouses lie quiet in the half-dark. A woman lifts a wooden shutter and leans out to test the air. It is cool and smells of damp earth and smoke. Inside her small room, a clay stove coughs to life. Thin oak sticks catch, snap, and breathe out the first note of morning. The scent drifts down the lane and reaches a baker. He pulls the stone lid off his oven, checks the heat with the back of his hand, and smiles to himself. A loaf will be ready by sunrise. A rooster calls once, decides that is enough, and settles its feathers. Goats in a nearby pen shift and nudge each other. One bleats soft and low. Nothing demands hurry. Sparta wakes the way a hand opens, one finger at a time. In the still gray light, boys of the Agage gather near the river path. They wear rough wool cloaks, folded over one shoulder. An instructor, beard trimmed close, voice calm, raises two fingers. No whistle, no shout. The boys set off in a slow jog, bare feet tapping dust in an even beat. Tap, tap, tap. They breathe together, 3 steps in, 3 steps out. The Eurotas whispers beside them, water sliding over stones. Farther up the lane, a shepherd boy with a reed staff walks toward his flock. He nods to an old woman sweeping her doorstep. She nods back without speaking. Words can wait until the sun is higher. For now, the work itself is enough. Smoke rises straighter as the sky turns from gray to pale blue. A potter opens his workshop, sets a lump of clay on the wheel, and presses it with steady hands. The clay spins, wet and smooth. He hums a short tune, 3 notes, no more, just to mark the rhythm. At the market square, a fisherman lays out 3 river perch on cool, damp reeds. Olive oil, fresh bread, and a wedge of goat cheese wait for barter. Coins change hands only if they must. Promises and handshakes do the same job. By the time the sun clears the ridge, shadows lie short and sharp. The boys jog back from the river, cloaks dusty, eyes bright, lungs steady. The baker pulls a fresh loaf from the oven. He breaks off one small piece, tastes it, and nods. The day in Sparta has begun. The Spartan marketplace is not large, but every stall has a clear purpose. Tables, made from plain pine, sit under the wide leaves of plane trees. One farmer arranges clay jars of olive oil in a neat row. Next to him, a fisherman spreads 3 fresh perch on damp reeds so the sun will not dry them too quickly. The air carries equal measures of salt, wood smoke, and green olives. Trade here stays quiet. A woman offers a coil of goat cheese for half a jar of oil. They exchange goods, nod once, and move on. No one haggles. Spoken promises carry the same weight as coins. A potter sets out rough cups, thick walls, no paint, built to last, and writes a small mark in the dust to show how many he brought. At the edge of the square, a group of helots unload sacks of barley. The sacks land with soft thuds. Rope knots are checked twice so nothing spills. A citizen counts each sack aloud. 1, 2, 3. Then hands over a round loaf of yesterday's bread as thanks. In Sparta, even those who till the fields eat first. Hungry growers would mean hungry soldiers later. Mid-morning heat settles. A single white cloud slides across the sky, offers a moment of shade, then drifts away. 2 children chase a lean brown dog between stalls. The dog dodges left. The children laugh, and a baker waves them off with a smile. Near the communal mess hall, cooks build a fire beneath an iron pot big enough to bathe a small child. Water, pork scraps, vinegar, a handful of bay leaf and a pinch of salt go in. The liquid turns dark almost at once, the beginning of black broth. Outsiders wrinkle their noses at the smell. Spartans breathe it in like home. While the water warms, a young man tunes a 3-string lyre. He plucks slow, steady notes, testing pitch for the afternoon drill. Soon, boys will march in time to that same rhythm, steps falling like soft mallets on the ground. Across the square, a soldier no longer young leans on his walking staff and tastes a sun-ripe fig. Juice runs down his fingers, and he wipes them on his cloak with no hurry at all. He has seen enough battles. Now he prefers figs and quiet mornings. By late morning, most traders pack their goods into reed baskets, ready to rest until cooler hours return. Dust hangs in the still air, and the scent of olives lingers. Work will start again after the midday meal. For now, Sparta pauses, saving strength for the heat still to come. Midday heat presses down like a heavy blanket. The stone streets shimmer. People look for shade under low roofs or thick vine trellises. Inside the mess hall, the iron pot of black broth has reached a slow, steady boil. A cook skims the top with a wooden ladle and tastes. He nods once. Good enough. Citizens eat together here. They line up with wooden bowls, no special seats, no fancy words. A young man fills each bowl halfway, then adds a chunk of barley bread. The broth is dark and sharp with vinegar. Outsiders say it tastes like war. Spartans say it tastes like home. A girl of 12 takes her first spoonful, blinks at the strength, then finishes without a word. Across the table, an old soldier dips bread, chews slowly, and smiles at the memory the flavor brings. After the bowls are rinsed, everyone steps outside into the narrow band of shade along the hall wall. Talking stays light. One man comments on the grain harvest. Another answers with a shrug. A woman hands her small son a fig. Juice runs down his wrist. She wipes it with a corner of her cloak. The boy laughs once, then leans against her leg and closes his eyes. Farther out, along the training grounds, the afternoon drill pauses. Boys from the agoge sit on the packed earth, backs against their shields, arms resting on knees. They breathe through open mouths, letting the heat roll past. An instructor pours a little water on the ground, showing how quickly it vanishes. Lesson finished, he pours the rest on their hands so they can wash dust from their faces. At the edge of a shaded courtyard, young women gather for their own exercises. They wear simple linen tunics tied at the shoulder. One leads stretches, counting in a clear voice. 1, 2, hold, breathe. Arms rise and fall in unison. Feet step into wide stances, then close again. Laughter slips out now and then, but the pace stays measured. Old mothers watch from benches, nodding approval. The heat peaks. Even the cicadas seem tired. Horses stand in the thin shade of an olive tree and flick their tails without energy. A pair of dogs lie side by side, tongues out, sharing the same patch of cool dirt. When the sun finally tilts west, a breeze breaks free from the river. It slips through the market, slides over the mess hall roof, and brushes every tired face. People open their eyes, lift baskets, gather tools. The pause is over. Sparta moves again, quieter for the rest it has just taken. Late sunlight falls at a softer angle now. Shadows grow longer, and the worst of the heat has slipped away. On a flat stretch of packed earth beside the river, a line of young Spartan women stands barefoot, tunics tucked at the waist. Their instructor, a calm woman with gray at her temples, raises one hand. The group steps forward in perfect time, knees high, arms pumping. Dust lifts and settles behind them like a quiet tail. Sparta values strength in its women. A healthy mother, they say, raises healthy warriors. The drills look simple. Short sprint, quick turn, crouch, leap. But they burn muscle all the same. After 10 passes, each runner stops, presses a palm to the ground, then lifts that palm to her heart as a silent promise to stay ready. Near the riverbank, another team practices the discus. A smooth stone disc spins through warm air, glints, then lands with a solid thump. A girl no older than 15 marks the distance with a stick. She smiles, wipes sweat from her forehead, and sends the disc sailing back to her friend for the next throw. Laughter pops up now and then, but the work stays steady. No one wastes effort on long speeches. Bodies speak for themselves. Across a narrow lane, 2 mothers sit on a bench under a fig tree, mending cloaks with quick, even stitches. They watch the drills, nodding when a stance is solid, shaking heads when it slips. One mother threads her needle, glances at her own arms, still strong from years of grinding grain, and allows herself a small, satisfied breath. On the slope beyond, helot workers finish tying grapevines to low stakes. Their shoulders ache, but the field rows look straight and proper. A citizen farmer checks their work and hands out a skin of watered wine. Each worker takes 1 sip, passes the skin, and returns to stacking pruning hooks. Labor stops only when a job is done well enough to rest easy at night. Back by the river, the women finish drills and walk to the water's edge. They dip cloths, wring them out, and wipe dust from calves and ankles. One of them begins a simple song, voice clear and low. Others join, their notes overlapping like slow waves. The tune has only 6 lines. Older girls learned it from their mothers, who learned it from theirs. The song praises strong limbs and steady breath, virtues anyone can see, even a traveler passing at a distance. As the sun touches the hilltops, the instructor claps once. Practice ends. The girls gather sandals, sling tunics over shoulders, and head toward town. Behind them, the river keeps moving, carrying the soft echo of their song downstream until even the frogs grow quiet. Shadows stretch long across the riverbank. The day's last light shines gold on the water, then slides away behind the hills. A small group of boys and girls gathers near a circle of torches stuck upright in the sand. An elder, with a slow step and a kind face, waits for everyone to settle, then nods to a singer. The singer plucks a low chord on a 4-string lyre. Voices rise, clear but quiet. They sing an old evening hymn, 6 short lines they all know by heart. The melody is simple, meant to rest in the mind and soothe the breath. When the last note fades, even the river seems to pause for a moment before it moves on. The elder clears his throat. "You have strength," he says, "and you train hard. But strength needs a guide, or it turns wild." He stoops, draws a straight line in the sand with his staff, and speaks the name Lycurgus. Long before any of them were born, Lycurgus walked these same banks. He was no giant, no hero from song, just a thoughtful man who listened more than he spoke. Sparta in his day was restless. Rich men counted coins, poor men counted hunger, and young men fought for no clear reason. Lycurgus watched, then left. Some say he went to Crete, some say Egypt. Wherever he traveled, he asked one question: "What makes a city steady?" He carried no gold, only a small wax tablet and a stylus. Whenever he heard a wise custom, how farmers shared water, how soldiers marched as one, how families ate from the same pot, he wrote a note. After many seasons, he came home with a tablet full of plain ideas and a heart set on order. The elder looks at the children. His first rule was this, he says, tapping the line in the sand: "Land should feed every citizen, not just a few." Lycurgus took the farms and measured them out like slices of bread, 1 slice for every household. Some men grumbled, but the fields answered with equal grain, and hunger grew thin. A torch pops, sending a spark upward. The elder smiles at the sound. "Second rule," he says, drawing a small circle beside the line: "Eat together." Communal meals, simple food, 1 wooden bench for rich and poor alike. Pride lowers its head when everyone lifts the same spoon. He stops there. "Enough for tonight," he says. "Small lessons sink deeper than long ones." The torches burn low. The children stand, bow once, and walk back toward the town. Overhead, the first stars appear, steady and silent, just the way Lycurgus hoped his city would one day become. Night settles over Sparta like a heavy cloak. Street fires shrink to small red cores, and doorways give off thin lines of lamplight. Families walk to the communal mess hall for the last meal of the day. 2 cooks stir the black broth one final time, letting pork fat rise and vanish back under the surface. Inside, benches stand in long rows. People sit shoulder to shoulder, elders, soldiers home on leave, young mothers holding sleepy children. No rank here. A steward fills wooden bowls halfway, then passes a basket of coarse bread down the line. The air smells of vinegar and meat. Visitors wrinkle their noses. Spartans breathe easy. An old soldier breaks his bread and drops half into his broth. He nods to a teenage girl across the bench. She nods back. Small respect offered and received. No one talks louder than a whisper. Bowls scrape wood. Spoons tap once or twice, and that is all. When the last mouthful is gone, each person wipes the rim of the bowl clean with the last thumb-sized piece of bread. Waste nothing, share everything. The meal ends with a short oath. One man stands and says, "Good food, strong hearts." The hall answers, "Good food, strong hearts." Bowls are stacked, tables wiped, lamps pinched closed. Outside, people split off onto narrow lanes, footsteps soft on packed earth. A low moon rises over the western ridge, painting the roofs silver. A pair of sentries pass each other at the north gate, spears tapping the ground in slow rhythm. Tap, tap, then fade into the dark. Beyond the wall, an owl hoots once, waits, and hoots again. In a small courtyard, a young mother rocks her baby to sleep. She hums the same six-note tune sung earlier by the river. The baby's eyes flutter, then close. 2 doors down, an old man sharpens a knife by lantern light. The scrape is quiet, steady, almost like breathing. He pauses, listens, then smiles at the thought that the city is at rest. Before turning in, some boys from the agog kneel around a single oil lamp and copy maxims onto wax tablets. One writes, "Short speech, long effort." Another writes, "Eat to be filled, train to be empty of weakness." When the lamp sputters, they close their tablets and file into the dormitory. A soft rustle of straw mats follows, then silence. The moon climbs higher. Dogs curl into tight balls at thresholds. The last door latch clicks shut. Sparta, fed and calm, slips into night watch. Stars mark the hours. Sentries pace slow beats. The rest of the city sleeps in one steady breath. Most homes are dark now, yet one torch still burns in the small meeting square. Beside it stands the same elder who spoke at the river. A few late walkers pause to hear the finish of his tale. Lycurgus saw his land fed and its people eating together, but he worried pride might creep back in. So he set a third rule: no gold and no silver coins. Instead, he minted rough iron bars, big, heavy, useless anywhere else. A thief could not carry much. A greedy man could not hoard it. If someone wanted fine things, they had to trade skill or labor, not shine. Next came training for all. Boys learned courage, girls learned strength. Meals were plain, beds were straw, words were few. Visitors laughed at the hardness. Spartans answered with quiet health and clear eyes. When the laws stood firm, Lycurgus did one last thing. He gathered the people and said, "I will leave Sparta until a prophecy is fulfilled. Promise you will keep these rules until I return." They swore on their honor. Lycurgus walked away and never came back. By keeping their promise, they kept him alive in every choice they made. Some call it wisdom, some call it stubborn faith. Either way, the city held. The elder lowers his voice. "Remember," he says, "hard things can feel simple when everyone carries the weight together." He stamps the torch out, and night deepens. Across Sparta, small signs of order remain. Shields lean in perfect rows against the training hall. Water jars sit in a neat line by the well, ready for dawn. A single lamp glows in the temple of Artemis, its flame watched by a priestess who will not leave her post until first light. Beyond the south gate, 2 sentries trade places. The one finishing shift touches the new guard's shoulder, then walks home without a word. Inside the wall, dogs lift their heads, sniff, and lie back down. Even the river sounds slower, as if flowing under a thicker blanket of dark. Up in the hills, vines cool after the long day. Grapes hang silent, skin tightening in the night air. Farther off, the sea presses gentle waves against the coast, but the sound is too faint to reach the city. Only stars speak now, shining clear and sharp. One by one, household lamps wink out. The last voice fades behind a closed door. Sparta rests. Plain roofs, straight streets, quiet hearts, holding to old rules set by a traveler who never returned yet, somehow never left. Midnight passes unnoticed by most of Sparta, but on the north wall 2 fresh sentries start their 4-hour watch. They move in a slow loop, 20 paces east, turn, 20 paces west, turn. Each carries a spear and a small brass bell tied to his belt. The bells stay silent. Only if a guard falls asleep will the bell strike stone and ring. It is a simple system, simple works. Below the wall, a narrow lane lies empty, except for one cat hunting moths in the torchlight. The cat springs, misses, and tries again. A boy from the agoges, restless on his straw mat, hears faint claws on clay and smiles into the dark before sleep takes him back. Near the center of town, the priestess in Artemis's temple kneels beside the single lamp she has tended since dusk. The oil is almost gone. She adds one last spoonful, whispers a 3-word prayer. Light guides courage and lets the flame steady itself. Her own courage is staying awake while the city sleeps. In a small house, 2 carpenters sit at a low table planning repairs for a roof damaged by last week's storm. One man draws a simple diagram on a wax tablet. The other nods, presses his thumbprint beside the drawing to show agreement, and blows out the lamp. Work can wait until dawn. The plan is enough. Outside the south gate, olive trees shift in a faint wind rolling down from Mount Taygetus. Leaves turn silver, then dark again, like soft scales on a living roof. Farther off, the howl of a lone wolf rises, holds, and fades. The sentries hear it, note its distance, and keep pacing. Wolves hunt sheep, not Spartans. Roman sits by the dying campfire, watching coals glow under a thin skin of ash. He speaks quietly, more to the night than to himself. Discipline comes in many sizes, he says. Some people think it is the hard crack of a commander's voice. But here, tonight, discipline is a mother saving the last drop of lamp oil, a guard walking his route without a bell ringing, a boy repeating a lesson in his sleep. He stirs the coals once. Sparks rise, drift, and vanish. Lycurgus built strong walls without bricks, he continues. He used habits: share food, speak little, finish what you start. Habits do not shine like bronze, but they hold a city together long after bronze turns green. Roman sets another small branch on the fire. The flame catches with a quiet hiss. He nods at its steady light. "Rest easy, traveler," he says. "The night is half over. What is strong by day is strong in the dark as well." The sentries pass each other again. Tap, tap. Spears and bells quiet. Footsteps sure. Above them, the stars remain where they were, keeping their own patient watch until the first pale line of dawn returns. A pale band of gray shows in the east long before the rooster dares to speak. The 2 sentries on the north wall take their last slow passes, heads turning to catch the first hint of color on the sky. When the gray edge begins to widen, they know their watch is over. One taps his spear butt twice on the stone, soft signals that the next shift may rise. Bells stay quiet. No one broke the night's trust. Inside the walls, a baker feels the change in air before he opens his eyes. Cooler, lighter, time to start dough. He moves in silence, adds ground barley to yesterday's starter, pours water, kneads. The dough pushes back, warm under his hands, ready for heat. He shapes 3 round loaves and sets them near the oven's mouth. Farther down the lane, a goat bleats once, testing the day. A shepherd boy slips from his mat, ties his cloak at one shoulder, and grabs his reed staff. He opens the pen gate just wide enough for the goats to file out. They walk soft, hooves clicking like small stones dropped on a drum. The boy leads them toward stubbled fields beyond the training ground. The rising light shows a line of dust where yesterday's march scuffed the earth. At the mess hall, a cook stirs the last of the black broth to keep it from thickening overnight. The surface swirls, leaving dark rings. He tastes the spoon, adds a pinch of salt, and lets the pot sit. Breakfast will be lighter, but some men like a mouthful of broth even at dawn, steady iron in the belly. Women step from doorways, buckets in hand, heading for the well. They speak low, share the first, small news of the day. A tooth loose in a child's mouth, a new crack in a roof beam, a promise of figs from a cousin's farm. The well rope creaks, water splashes, buckets rise. Boys from the agoge gather again at the river path. Their cloaks swing over shoulders. Yesterday's dust stays where it is. Dust is no burden. The instructor raises 2 fingers, and the run begins. Same rhythm, but in the new light each footstep makes a sharper print. Mist lifts off the uretas in thin sheets and disappears. Roman watches the gray edge of dawn turn to faint rose. He adds one last twig to the dying fire, more for memory than for warmth. A city wakes, he murmurs, and the night's lessons meet the day's work. Sparks jump, fade, and the twig catches. Behind him, the first rooster call rings clear. Another answers. Day belongs to Sparta again. The sun slips behind the hills, leaving a pale strip of red along the sky. Along the Eurotas, torches stand in a half circle, their flames small but steady. A group of young voices gathers, boys from the agoge on one side, girls from their own training on the other. They face the river, not the town, as if singing to the water itself. A singer lifts a 3-string lyre. He plucks one clear note, then a second. On the 3rd note, every voice joins in. The melody is old and simple, 8 beats in each line, 4 lines in the whole hymn. Each line thanks something ordinary: clean water, strong bread, steady hearts, quiet nights. The first verse flows out smooth. The river picks it up, breaks it into ripples, and carries it downstream. The second verse rises a little louder, then eases back, like a breath let out slow. Torches flicker but do not falter. Even the evening wind seems to listen. Each singer stands with feet shoulder wide, hands clasped behind the back. Calm posture. No show. When the 3rd verse begins, an owl calls from a willow branch. The note fits the music so well that some of the younger singers smile but keep their pitch true. Parents watch from the bank, arms folded across chests. A few sway with the rhythm. None speak. 2 old soldiers lean on their spears, remembering marches where this same hymn kept tired feet moving. Now the song feels lighter, meant for rest instead of effort. A 4th and final verse thanks the moon, though the moon is not yet visible. The lyric says, "Guide us home, bright guardian," trusting that the moon will rise soon, and it does. A thin silver edge shows above the ridge, answering the line just as it ends. Silence follows. Not heavy, not awkward, just room for the song to settle. A gentle splash breaks the hush as a fish leaps, then the river goes quiet again. The singer lowers the lyre, nods once. Torches are lifted from their holes and dipped into the water to die with a hiss. Darkness folds over the scene, but the calm lingers, like warmth in stones after the sun is gone. The singers walk back to town in small groups, soft sandals brushing dust. No one hurries. The hymn did its work. It tied voices together, then laid them down in peace. Behind them, the river slides on, carrying the tune in memory for whoever listens farther downstream. Night lies thick over Sparta. Lamps in the houses are dark. Only the guard posts glow with steady coals. On the north wall, 2 fresh sentries take up their route. They check spear tips, shift shields to settle the weight, and start pacing. 20 steps east, stop, turn. 20 steps west. Boots tap stone in an unbroken beat, a quiet metronome holding the city's pulse. Below the wall, the lanes are empty save for one cat stalk in shadows. Its paws make no sound, yet the sentries see the movement and nod to each other. Everything that lives here is accounted for. Part way along, the rampart stands the signal brazier, a waist-high pot filled with coals. If trouble ever comes, a single torch thrust into that pot will send a column of sparks high enough for every guard tower to see. Tonight, the brazier rests. The coals glow soft orange and crack once in a while, like an old man clearing his throat just to say he is still awake. A half-moon hangs over Mount Taygetus, silvering the ridge. The closer hilltops look almost blue. Farther down, olive trees stir in a small wind that never reaches the city floor. Leaves turn, catch moonlight, and flip back, silver, green, silver, like tiny coins in slow trade. Inside the wall, a priestess makes her final round of the temple courtyard. She checks each clay lamp, pinches weak flames, trims one stubborn wick, and leaves only the central light burning. It stands in a bronze cup at the altar's edge, one calm flame to guard the night spirits. She bows once, backs away, and closes the wooden doors with a soft latch. At the well, 2 late workers fill a single jar for the guard posts. They move without speech, pass the rope hand over hand, lift the jar, tie it shut, and carry it toward the wall. Steps echo between clay houses, then fade. The jar will sit on the guard shelf until dawn, when the first thirsty sentry will drink and wake the rest with a quiet morning. Beyond the south gate, a wolf calls, one long note that wavers, then ends. The sound is distant, cushioned by fields and stone. Both sentries pause, count the seconds of silence that follow, decide the pack is far off, and resume their measured walk. Their brass sleep bells stay silent. No careless step lets metal hit stone. From the top of the wall, the city looks like a sleeping child. Still breath, relaxed hands, no fear in the face. The sentries keep their slow loop, boots tapping, eyes steady. Overhead, the moon keeps its own watch, gliding west by heartbeats so small no one feels them. Behind the guards, in houses and barracks, Sparta sleeps, protected not by high walls alone, but by the quiet promise of 2 men who refuse to close their eyes until dawn. The coals of my own fire have settled into a faint red island. I push one twig against the edge, watch it flare, then dim. Heat enough to finish a thought, no more. All day we had walked through Sparta's plain habits, bread, training, song, silence. Nothing grand, yet every small act fits the next, like stones in a low wall. I think that is the hidden strength Lycurgus gave them. He did not carve a statue for the city. He carved a groove, and daily life runs along it without spilling. Earlier, by the river, children thanked clean water. At the mess hall, hands shared black broth without counting spoons. On the wall, Sentries paced 20 steps and turned, never doubting why. Each act alone is small. Together they make a net strong enough to catch fear before it falls on the town. I wonder how many places forget that power. A city builds taller roofs, brighter lamps, faster words, yet its center feels loose. Here, the center is a circle drawn in dust. Eat plain food, speak plain truth, keep watch for your neighbor. When those circles line up, family to mess hall to wall, the city holds steady, even in sleep. You might ask if such tight order costs too much. Maybe. A Spartan bed is straw, a Spartan joke is short. But I have traveled through lands with soft beds and long laughs, where hunger still walks the streets at dawn. Comfort, like iron, has two edges. The moon has carried itself past the highest point. Soon its silver will fade to a thin coin in the west. Sentries will hand the wall to fresh eyes. Goats will rise, and another day will begin inside the same simple groove. Nothing in Sparta will feel new, yet nothing will feel brittle either. Routine, repeated without pride, becomes a kind of quiet armor. I add the last twig to the coals. Flame curls up, bright for the space of one breath. It shows my hands, old lines, knuckles thick from miles of staff work, and shows the dust that covers my boots. Stories gather dust too, but good dust, the proof they were carried far enough to matter. Traveler, let your own life find its small groove. A cup shared, a lamp tended, a promise kept in the dark. These are easy things, and they steady the heart better than iron walls. Close your eyes now. Let the night keep watch, as two calm sentries do for this city. When dawn comes, rise simple, speak honest, and step forward without hurry. The fire is almost gone now, just a ring of faint red under thin white ash. One ember pops, lifts into the air, and fades to nothing before it lands. Night has done its work. Even the cicadas have slowed. Friend, our story ends where it began, by a small fire under a quiet sky. You have walked a full day in ancient Sparta, felt the first smoke of dawn, heard sandals on the river path, tasted the sour bite of black broth, watched torches hiss out beside the Eurotas. You have met Lycurgus in a few plain rules and seen how ordinary hands keep those rules alive. Remember what held the city together. Share food, train the body, honor silent work, guard the night for others. None of it shines like polished bronze, but each small act locks into the next until the whole place rests easy, even when wolves call beyond the dark fields. The moon has slipped behind the hills. Stars stay, but they feel softer, as if tipping their lamps so you might close your eyes without worry. The sentries on the wall will pace until first light. The priestess will watch her single flame until the birds begin their chatter. The baker will knead dough in the cool hour before sunrise. Spartan order moves on without sound, like a deep river under night fog. Lay your head down if you have not done so already. Let your shoulders sink. The story is finished. The work of listening is over. Breathe in, slow and steady. Count 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3. Let every breath carry a piece of the day away until only calm remains. If dreams come, may they be simple. A footpath under olive trees, a clear note from a 3-string lyre, a bowl of warm bread shared among friends. When dawn reaches your window, rise easy. The world outside will ask for effort soon enough, but the first step can be gentle. Like the boy testing cool dust with bare feet at sunrise, I will bank the last ember now. My stories will wait inside the coals until another traveler finds this fire. Perhaps that traveler will be you again. Perhaps someone new will need a quiet road through the night. Either way, the tales remain, steady as the stones of Sparta, soft as the hush before morning. Sleep well. May your rest be as firm as a sentinel's oath, and as calm as the river after the hymn has faded. Good night.